those who want to do it a little more give themselves more time to go beyond the general public. Once we've completed the compliance review, we need to conclude. We saw in the statement of methodology established by the apostles that there were two possible conclusion scenarios. Either there is a finding of convergence. In this case, we are obliged to pronounce a finding of alignment between Paul's gospel on the one hand and the Christian gospel on the other hand, and therefore draw the consequence that is the obvious conclusion, namely, despite the many differences of these multiple currents, Christianity preaches the same Jesus Christ as Paul, invokes the same Christ as the early church, and actually worships the same God as the Messiah of the Bible. In the second scenario of the conclusion, the question is whether this is the case, whether there is a divergence, an antagonism between Paul's gospel on the one hand and the Christian gospel on the other hand, in which case we proceed. We are bound by rigor, by methodological coherence, according to the methodology established by the apostles and applied by the Bereans. In this case, we will be obliged to note, to pronounce a finding of incompatibility and to say whether this incompatibility is a partial or total divergence on the crash-tested points. And the conclusion in this case will have serious consequences, since this would mean that the Christian gospel and Christianity would have placed themselves outside the messianic field, outside the Christ field, outside the scope of the biblically established. And then we advise. But let's get started. Practical work at the beginning, and let's make it rigorous and consistency. Step one, we need to identify the Christian gospel. We need to outdate it. What does it consist of? In fact, it would not only be tedious, but irrelevant to attempt an inventory of all the denominations of Christianity and their respective professions of faith. Thousands of pages would not suffice, nor would hours and hours. In this case, a good methodology, a good methodological approach to research is to identify the doctrinal corpus common to all Christian denominations. To put it another way, what are the cardinal points of belief, transversal to all professions of faith of all the churches, parts of Christianity? Seen that way, the work is no less important, galactic, but it's simplified, and to make no bones about it, we've taken it seriously, and we ended up with 5 cardinal points that cut across the whole spectrum of Christianity. So what are these 5 cardinal points of beliefs that cut across all denominations of Christianity, Christian churches? First point, the sonship of the Messiah. Second point, the birth of the Messiah. Third point, the fullness or otherwise of the Messiah's humanity. Fourth, the mode of accession to kingship in Judah, if proven. Fifth and last point, salvation. What is the process? How to obtain salvation? How is salvation obtained in Christianity and in Paul's gospel? The attainment of eternity, of redemption from sin. How is that done? So these are the 5 points we've identified. And now it's time to say, what are the contents to put in each of these 5 points, as you will, of course, be able to check for yourself. First cardinal point, the sonship of the Messiah. Christian doctrine. Now everyone understands. Well, how legitimate it is to talk about Christian doctrine without being simplistic, because we refer to the common denominator, transversal beliefs, to all Christian denominations. So, it's factual and verifiable. All Christian denominations on the subject of filiation agree to claim a Jesus Christ who has no filiation in the human species, with the proviso that from a biblical point of view, anyone can verify this at their leisure. Affiliation of a person to one of the 12 tribes of Jacob of Israel is determined exclusively according to the tribe of the male sire. The definition of tribe, of a man's daughter, or of a son of man, in the Bible, in the scriptures, she's never defined. I repeat, never. In connection with mother's tribe. The mother tribe is therefore indifferent to determine a child's tribe, and the following simplistic equation would be a perfect way to sum up this matter. A child's tribe is equal to the tribe of the father, the male sire. Well, from this point of view, then, the Jesus Christ of Christianity has no filiation, because quite simply, he has no father in humanity. He has no biological father among men. He is the son of no man on earth. This is a point on which all Christian denominations have always agreed. Second cardinal point of Christian doctrine of the Christian gospel, the birth of the Messiah. All Christian denominations agree on this point, to claim a Jesus Christ who was born extraordinary, not of two human parents, like you and me, like your children, like our children, but whose father is a spirit and whose mother, a woman as each of us, has had neither more nor less. So he has two special parents, in that both are not of the human species. One of the two parents is a spirit. All currents of Christianity claim that their Christ is the fruit of an interspecies relationship, and it's written in the marble of their profession of faith. Third point of Christian doctrine, the humanity of the Messiah. All Christian churches claim, assert, and assume to worship a Jesus Christ, a half-woman, half-female Messiah. Their Messiah is therefore humanoid, ethereal, a hybrid, partly woman and partly spirit. He is therefore mixed, not totally carnal at birth. As a human being like you and me at birth, not totally spiritual. Like all spirits, when God, the Father of spirits, creates them. A hybrid nature with a chemical composition of their blood. It's totally unknown to mankind. We don't know what the blood of the Christian Jesus Christ is or can be composed of. And we also don't know of what flesh it is. If it's dusty like ours, and if its extraordinary flesh has the weaknesses that we humans have as spirits, inhabiting normal carnal bodies, ordinary. Fourth point cardinal of Christian doctrine, the doxa of the whole of Christianity. Access to Davidic royalty. All denominations of Christianity agree and affirm it, preach it, that Jesus Christ became member of the tribe of Judah, not in the usual way, but in an exceptional anti-biblical way, in that no one else before him, no one else at the time of his existence, and no one else after his existence has ever in the same configuration. In other words, he became a member of the tribe of Judah by adoption. Since to become a member of the tribe of Judah, one must have royal blood. You must therefore have a male sire who can provide you with the Y chromosome, descended from the seed of one of the many sons that the patriarch Judah, for example, had during his existence on earth. Here, the access of the Jesus Christ of Christianity to the royal family of Judah, whose memory, for your information, that the tribe of Judah is the only tribe to which God has exclusively offered kingship. We can read it in Genesis 49, 8-10, and 4 Chronicles 28, 4. Adoption is therefore the means of access to the royal family of the Jesus Christ of Christianity, such as all the churches of this religion claim. On the other hand, it so happens that once adopted, Christianity preaches that he thus became the Lion of the tribe of Judah and was able to sit on David's throne, as announced in Psalms 132:11 and Psalms 105, 8-10, or Acts chapter 2, verse 30, where there, God not only promises, but he promises on oath that it is the fruit of the womb of David who will sit eternally on his throne after him. Christianity is therefore, in an unprecedented model, exceptional, scandalous, biblically unknown access to royalty by adoption. Genesis 15, 2-4 expressly forbids it. One last point, since we have to limit the perimeter and not extend it ad infinitum. What we do with those who join, we're exceeding the limit of the traditional 5 cardinal points. Yet those 5 cardinal points remain highly significant. However, there are others. The 5th and final point is salvation. There are 2 schools of thought in Christianity. There is the school that claims salvation by faith and works, and there's the school that claims salvation according to Galatians 2:8-9, by faith without works. But to tell the truth, it's a bit like putting the cart before the horse. For the real question is not which salvation procedure, but rather which Savior, which Christ, the true or the false. But it was important to faithfully reproduce these two currents within Christianity, a double option, shared by different churches, yet still part of Christianity. These are the 5 cardinal points of Christian doctrine, the first stage of a practical application of the biblical methodology established by the apostles. Now for the second stage,